Hmm. So it looks like you're having a beautiful morning. Lots of sunshine, I can see. Hmm.
It is. It's still a little chilly, but it is sunny out. That's nice.
Right, I think we're live now.
Perfect.
Right, hi everyone. Hang on, I need to turn the volume off the other one. Hello everybody. Welcome to the Mystic Melting Pot. Welcome to an interview with Brittney and Brittney Johnson. Today we're just going to be delving into who, and what Brittney's all about, and we're going to let the conversation flow and see where it goes from there, really. So, welcome, Brittney. Where would you like to start?
Thank you. Well, it was you were on a high point when we decided that it was time to go live, and I don't know if you remember what you were sharing, but it was something along the lines that it's time for people to really shift into their gift, and we're leaving a lot of old structures and
Mhm.
frameworks behind that are no longer serving us. They're no longer even relevant for us today. So,
Yeah.
did you have anything you wanted to add to that? Because
I will. I'll
where
come
you
back to
were
it. I'm
on.
going to start.
Yeah.
I've written some stuff down, which is unlike me. Um, so, tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your background, Brittany?
Okay, yeah, so I never really did the whole like corporate or like get a job thing. I did go to college and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life. So I studied mathematics and I found quantum physics in my last year. So that was really beautiful to kind of explore like origins of the universe and the interplay between mathematics and spirituality. And then I went to India because I had my awakening during college. And that woke me up to, like you were mentioning before with your awakening journey, just like it was during this social problems class, and my teacher, she used to be homeless, and so she was very passionate and she assigned a lot of readings. And so I was waking up to this bubble that I had lived in, in childhood, and just got really angry and sad, and was like my whole world had shattered. And so I was really into like environmentalism, and I think that's where I felt it the most. Like I really felt all the species loss and everything. So I went to India for this program on inner and outer sustainability and lived in an eco village, the largest eco village in the world, Oroville.
Yeah.
And so that was another
What
awakening
and what was
experience.
that like? Because that must have
Yeah,
been amazing.
it was really beautiful. I mean, culture shock, of course, but the reverse culture shock was probably even harder just coming back to the United States after going to a place like India, which is like a land of paradox. It's really beautiful, really spiritual. So just continuing from like my college journey and like very in my head about like origins of the universe and spirituality, and then going there, and it was just like another, blasting open of awakening where I was able, I'm like getting all teary-eyed, but just like seeing like all of the people living on the street and the different disorders and like mutations. Like saw one person just like walking, but like their legs were bent backwards, and just it was really, yeah, it did like really blast my heart open, and changed my perspective a lot. But yeah, so living in Oroville was really beautiful. Um they have about like a hot, super high per capita of architects. So all the buildings are really interesting. There's like 50 different countries represented. So all these different foods and people. And yet the thing that I found was they're lacking love, like cohesive love.
Ah, okay.
So this happens a lot of times in communities that have been built, by a founder, and you're all united around a singular vision, and you can really build together. You go through a lot of hardships, they reforested the part of southern India that was deforested by the British for their shipbuilding. So it was really cool to see just like all these, they started in the 60s. So by the time I was there, it was like 40, 50 years of reforestation that was happening. So a lot was coming back. And yet, like they had like little communities. It's designed in a spiral galaxy.
Mm,
And so there's this meditation chamber in the very center by a banyan tree that kind of marks the center of the community. It
yeah,
kind of reminds me, I don't know if you're familiar with Epcot, but that's like a
yeah.
Disney world, sort of like looks like a big golf ball. And that's kind of what it looks like, a big golden golf ball
Uh,
that is supposed to signify a lotus flower. And there's these meditation chambers on the outside of it.
so
So
how long were you at this community,
I
this
was in
city, isn't
Oroville for
it?
6 months, but I traveled alone in India, which I would not recommend if you're a single woman to travel alone by yourself in India. I went up north, which is like 10 times more populated than the south, and it was very challenging. Um, but I learned a lot about myself. So, that's kind of just a theme in my
As
life.
in,
And
like, you get followed or you get stalked or things
yep,
like that.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't go out of my one of my hotels in Varanasi, which is one of the oldest cities in the world. I wasn't able to leave my guest house or my hotel for over a day because somebody was like stalking
Crikey.
me. But yeah, I mean, I just recommend going with a travel partner if you're a woman, definitely.
Well, that's definitely a good tip.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, cool. Well, that's some journey. And so where are we up to like in the present moment? Like you
yeah.
come back to America and
Yeah, it's been a
start
while. The
doing
thing
things.
is, I thought at that time, I thought that I was going to Oroville to learn how to like build communities and like save the world, but then
Yep.
at the end of that, I got really, really sick, and it wasn't India's fault or anything. It was I had grown up taking antibiotics for acne, and so I had really like no gut terrain, like healthy biome. And so by the end of my trip, I was so sick that I came back and I just had to learn how to heal myself. So that's really been my journey of going, thinking that I needed to save the world, then figuring out I had to start with myself. And so that's been quite a journey. I mean, I'm an herbalist, and I've gone to regenerative detox school, so I really don't believe that there's anything that you can't heal from if you're still
Sure.
alive. And I also studied with rebirthing breath work and lived in like a center there, so learned about elemental purification practices. And yeah, it was put to the test. I don't know if you're familiar with Lyme disease, but then I started to experience that after I thought I had, pretty much healed everything. Then the universe is like,
Word.
here you go. And
It's
I
quite
do believe,
something to contract as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, it's like I do believe that one is a bioengineered, man-made
I saw your
thing.
post. I saw your post.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh,
It
okay, cool. Well,
I
I
totally agree.
Yeah, I mean, it's out there as we, experienced as a global thing, a few years ago. Um, it's just a really interesting. I think there's a bunch of mad scientists that just create a bunch of things in laboratories and then
That's what they
release
did with
it.
COVID, is it not?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, where
Pretty
did
much.
where did the flu go though? That's
Yeah,
my
yeah,
question.
totally. We have to be careful. We're on YouTube. We might get censored.
Okay. All right. We'll just
I'll leave
keep
it at
it.
that.
So
Yeah.
anyways, when I was in bed, because I couldn't leave my bed for about a year with Lyme, because my joints were all swollen, I had no energy and all of that. Then I had to learn to do something else. So I leaned into another area that I've been afraid of like my whole life, which was marketing and like selling my services. And so then I got into building funnels and online businesses. And that's where I worked with a lot of different startups, all more in the regenerative space has always been my thing. Like I'm not willing to just buy cheap crap from China and
Sure.
build some like cheap opt-in funnel just to, I don't know, just to make money. So
Just
I
to get
worked
the
on
numbers.
that and was working with a lot of different like visionaries and solutionaries and going to a lot of festivals and all of that. So that's kind of where we are today. I did all that and now I'm kind of over that too.
Right, that's
Where
good.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was able to see a lot of patterns in all of those experiences with where we are. And my biggest passion right now is a program that I'm building called Building Trust. And that also has to do with the private realm, which is, I think, where we connected to, where you've been correcting me really
Oh, I'm not trying to
graciously.
correct you, no.
You have been very gracious with your corrections because I keep on using the word ship, and you are right. Like, this is a word that we need to just
Not
leave
use.
behind. Yeah. Yeah. So,
It just
yeah.
takes me straight into the legal realm of commerce. It's like, oh, I'm getting on a ship. Oh my God, well.
You're right. You're totally right. Yeah. It's
Yeah,
that.
practice, just practicing.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow, well, what an amazing journey. And yeah, I've invited quite a few people into your new group,
I was thinking it.
trusts,
Yeah. It's
PMAs, and
growing.
foundations, because it's stuff I speak about all the time.
Perfect.
In fact, I did last year, I started doing talks on that very subject and all of the system
Mm.
under the Mahasatra Foundation that I created. And yeah, we did some talks in the physical last year. It was really lovely. And actually, I'm doing one tomorrow night here online on the same talk because apparently this is what I'm meant to be doing is helping people put the pieces of the puzzle together because it's time for us to all get on the same page. This doesn't work if we don't all have the same knowledge because people will just easily go back to their lawyer or their bar registered member of the court. And this isn't the world that I was shown. This isn't the vision that I saw in 2015. It's a
Yeah.
case of if we want something new in society, we have to do something different. And the different thing is learning our inalienable rights and actually learning that the system actually works for us, not the other way around. And stop believing everything everybody else says. This journey into sovereignty is all of you, even
Mm.
with anything to do with paperwork, it has to come from you and your thought and your pen. It can't come from anybody else, really. You can have others guide you, you can have others have templates, but there's a certain level of you need to comprehend what it is that you're actually doing.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I was very fortunate enough the last 2 years I mentored with or apprenticed with a bar certified lawyer, but he's the most unlawyer lawyer that you'll ever
Cool.
meet. Like he didn't even want to renew his bar license. He'll talk a lot about how licenses are, part of the commerce and you really don't need any of those. And what we helped people do was to create the documents for like a trust indenture or the
Yep.
bylaws for a PMA or the foundation. So I'm pretty comfortable at this point, helping people to form their own documents. But
Sure.
as he would always say, it's not about the documents, really. It's really more about how you embody. And that's why I do appreciate you correcting my language because this realm is a totally different, worse use of words that we, as you said too, like we just need to support each other in being able to navigate this realm. Because if we use the more aligned language, then we're free from those shackles that we were bound to when we were born and oftentimes didn't even have a choice in being bound. So
It's also easier to spot the other realm because
yeah.
instantly someone starts talking a certain way and you'll go, oh, hang on a minute. No, I need to either correct you or step away because you'll know that it's about commerce or
Yeah.
the mind control that is the government. Oh, said it.
Uh-oh, we're red flags
Oh dear,
now.
red flag. Never mind. Well, the nice thing about it is my channel's very small, so my influence is very small, and nobody's going to
Yeah.
see it. So,
Yeah. That's part of I've had that vision too. I feel like we're ants just aerating the soil and we're kind of underground. Yeah, I'm okay with it.
yeah, I had a one of my blockages. It was famous people and fame, what that brings, and actually, I'm over that now. I really don't care, to be fair. It is what it is. I'm in my authentic self, and I bare my soul to nearly everybody I meet. So it's not like you're seeing somebody different. You know,
Right. There's a certain degree, even I've experienced that too, sort of like some imposter syndrome, like afraid of really
shining.
sharing. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. So cool. So you're looking to launch, I saw it, it's a ceremony of trust and
Yeah.
build up. I think it's actually a lovely idea.
Thanks.
Because so I take it with the ceremony of trust, it's actually an event
Mhm.
at the end of creating the trust or the end of creating the foundation or whatever it is that you're doing.
It can be ongoing. I was looking at this first one as more of like a launching pad to building trust, which is the program.
Yeah,
So the ceremony of trust is really, I feel like a lot of people are sort of new and just not sure, but really building trust, the ceremony is going to be an opportunity for deep listening, some meditation, just also, I really love doing this mirror meditation where you're looking yourself in the eyes and you can't lie to yourself. So
yeah.
it's really a great opportunity to
So
practice deep listening.
would there be a bit of drumming as well, maybe?
Yeah, I'm
Shamanic
gonna be
drumming?
inviting some other people who are much better at holding ceremony than I. I do feel like I'm a great space holder and can, bring some people in. So if you have any recommendations, I do have
I'm sure
a
there
sound
is
healing friend.
quite a few in
Perfect.
our friends list that are listening who would definitely be up for some of that. I actually
Perfect.
wanted to do this similar before it was the Mystic Melting Pot. It was Spiritual Unity Network, and I wanted to do a similar thing is bring people together in the physical for that
Mm,
kind of ceremony because it's something that has to be felt, and and whilst these platforms are great for reaching people over great distances. It's nothing about being in each other's presence, is it? It's not the same,
so
not quite
true.
the same.
Yeah, that's very true.
Um, yeah, it's energy, isn't it? At the end of the day, you can still feel the energy, but it's just like to be in a room with somebody is far greater than being with you in this virtual thing of noughts
Yeah,
and
I
ones.
mean our heart field extends out like 8 feet or something like that. So I mean that definitely can't be felt through the interwebs. I just am in my hermit era right now. As I've told you before, I've just been kind of traumatized in many ways. I lived in a van for about 2 years and was thinking that I was going to be like finding these different communities because my bigger vision is to, which is shared by many people, is to create these different land nodes that we all are welcome to come and stay and interact and activate and contribute to. I would love to have a network of different land nodes where I feel like I'm super welcome and there's trust there that I'm going to be contributing. I'm not just like freeloading, trying to just
Sure.
live somewhere and take,
Hmm. Hmm.
consume, but that I actually want to contribute and create. And yeah, so that's the bigger vision. But when I was on the road and I was going to these different projects, people would be like, "Oh, we want a land steward on our land," and really what they wanted was um, a slave, an indentured servant, basically. So I found that over and over again. And that's also another reason why I'm so drawn to creating agreements so that we have a really clear intention.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that people are always going to abide to that, but at least we can say, like, oh, well, you broke this agreement, and there can be then perhaps accountability and working through, because it is another word I really like is from Bucky Fuller
Hmm.
that is called tensegrity. So, of course, there's going to be tension and there's going to be conflict that comes when you're working with others. But if you can create strength through that tension, then that's really the goal.
Yeah. Yeah. I think for me, listening to that, going around different places, different communes, different places that where people have created this thing, but it's either just one person or a couple or whatever it is don't forget they have this indoctrination of commerce. They
Mm,
have not had an education in natural law and trust.
very
And the
true.
fact of the matter is that yes, they did need a land steward, but that I suppose this for me is why unity hasn't taken place yet on in humanity, is because the fact that we're all still just trying to do things on our own. We're all
Mhm.
separate. We're all segregated in the different pockets of whatever it is. And when we get a piece of land and start living sustainably or in community, it's still somebody's business or still somebody's homegrown, whatever it is. And that's fine, but that isn't how I have been given the vision of the New Earth communities. It's
Yeah.
exactly how you described your bigger vision of having these places around the earth that you can just kind of maybe just rock up and go like, I'm here.
Mhm.
But you're
Mhm.
part of the same. See, I don't use network. I try not to use network anymore. Network is business.
Mhm.
Community or commune or yeah, is that side of it.
We need to
So
make a, do you have like we need a vocab directory.
a what?
We need like a vocabulary index, I think.
Yeah, we need to write one out or at least start agreeing on certain terms, yeah, for sure.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um yeah, I suppose at the end of the day, there are through some of the lovely people that I resonate with, I know through the teachings that there are 13 tribes. And they are the Essene tribes that were all around the world or all around the realm, because I don't say world anymore. World is the
Mhm.
world of business, the world of commerce. Um, these 13 tribes are the tribes of the new Earth communities that will be set up. And it's already happening. Everybody is starting to come together because of the divine plan. And yeah, all of the other is just kind of noise. It really
Mhm.
is just noise. And that emphasis on being indoctrinated in the business world. I have a business, I need to run a business, I've got to pay my tax, all of these things. All it's doing is just keeping you busy in that world. It's
Yeah,
not
so
actually
busy.
creating anything positive or any positive change to get to where utopia and heaven should actually be.
Mhm.
And once you've got a community of people that have the same level of knowledge, you understand that the trust has 9/10 of the title.
Mm.
Trust is the legal entity. The beneficiaries are all around and benefiting from the thing that's there, the container. Um, so yeah, it's all going to plan, and this is another reason why I started the domestic melting pot.
Mm.
Is to get people that have well, anybody's welcome, but it's just to truly find the people that are doing the inner work that are ready to actually truly commit to building a better earth and not just that, restoring the earth as custodians, because that's who we truly are. We're meant to be custodians over the land and look after it. This is
Mhm.
why we're here. And actually, the more we look after it, the more it works for us. We know that there's free energy out there. We know that the ether is there. in abundance. It's just a case of getting these technologies re-released. I mean, we know Nicholas Tesla wrote most of it. It's
Mhm.
just like, free energy. Look at all the cathedrals. They're all collecting the ether, or they used to.
Cathodes, yeah.
They're all cathodes, and it's just a case of. I think for me, it's just a case of once a lot of people come over to the private side of life and the private side of doing things for the right reasons, then the old world will be less, and it'll have to get in tune with this side of the ledger because nobody deals in commerce anymore. Nobody really charges. Do you know what I mean? Nobody pays the government anymore because we're the government now because we've created our own. We've created our own society. We've created a new way of actually coexisting in this place instead of having to.
100%. Yeah, it's like we talked about earlier. I mean, we're born into the system and we don't know anything different.
Mm,
However, I'm super grateful for you sharing this wisdom and it's feeling like it's becoming more known that you can have private contract, private agreements. You don't necessarily need to you don't have to report or ask permission from an agency that really doesn't have your best interest in mind. Like
mm.
if it was any other busyness realm, we would fire them like long time ago, you know. So it's just really interesting, but it's also more coming to light, more illuminating, especially through all the global drama as more of these I don't know, there's even supposedly like a financial crash that's going to be happening in June. Like they've been talking about it forever. However, it is inevitable because they keep printing money and it's inflation and bubble markets and all of that like stuff that I really don't care to really learn too much about, just have some awareness that it's happening. But I feel that we're here to build a bridge and we aren't fully into this world that we've received these visions for, but we are taking the necessary steps to get there. So,
I mean, I do totally agree with that. There are glimpses of it though in these
mhm.
communities, in these spiritual communities that have kind of worked out some of the kinks. They're still
Yeah.
having to survive because we all need this thing called money, but it's a piece of paper. It's man-made. It isn't what you actually think it is. It's just part of, oh, well, I
And it
need it
has
to
the word
survive.
trust on it too.
It's
Yeah.
like the other day, someone said, well, money is just energy. Yes, yes, it is. But whose money? What money is that?
Mhm.
It's owned by a private central bank. That's not your money, that's theirs. That's private
Yeah.
script money. That's not, and I suppose when you're setting up a community or a foundation or whatever it is that you're doing on the land, it's a case of if you can imagine, everybody didn't pay their due. Like in England, we have a thing called council tax. So that's our local authority. So we pay a tax into that, each house does. So if everybody in the community didn't pay their council tax, but put it into their own foundation, local foundation, how much money would you actually have every month? You'd have loads of money because that was the money you were giving to your council.
Mhm.
So it's like it's just the energy and the shift in the mindset just needs to change.
Yeah.
And kind of like there is a lot of people in the truth movement that do understand this stuff. It's just that we're so divided on every other topic that we don't have time to truly drill down and see the bigger vision or see where humanity's actually going. Um,
Yeah.
the one that I received was that there will still be commerce, there will still be cities and all of this stuff, but it will be that those that were enslaved or ensnared in that will be in there. But they'll probably still have no knowledge of that because they'll be so plugged in and so switched off that they won't see it. And that's part of their agenda, obviously.
Yeah.
And then the other part was the communities that actually do get on the land, that do become self-sustainable, that do join together in bigger events or a bigger communities, and start actually custodians of the land, start actually replenishing the soil and replenishing the rivers. And there's so many dirty rivers in England, and it's just like
Mm,
it's disgusting. Like these companies are allowed to do this stuff, you know.
yeah.
Um, but there's lots of great stuff coming that I know of, and Spirit has a bigger plan. So it's just like it really is nice to finally meet you, and it's really nice to really start this project. And what really gets me is the fact that although it's in a Facebook group, it's nothing really because I find Facebook is dead. It's just like
Yeah,
nobody's on there.
totally.
Everybody moans and hates it, and it's just like it's just an empty shell of what it used to be.
It
Facebook
is.
used to be great in 2008. It was an amazing place. Now it's just shit. It's just
I've built things in other places, and ultimately, what it comes down to, I mean, I had so much resistance around forming this new group, but it's where people tend, it's like a watering hole, you know, it's where people end up. And the goal is to use it as a lily pad for other
sure.
platforms, and especially in the private realm. Like, I don't want to be on Facebook or any of those platforms, anyways, really. But if I can just drop enough like little sprinkles of wisdom and inspiration that motivates somebody to take the next step, then that's really the goal. And that's,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what. Also, with what you're saying too, is like the solutions, most of the solutions already exist that we need, right? But we're just here to really weave them together and activate them, create more power around them. So yeah, I'm excited to really have the opportunity to create those sort of swarms and go to the different land bases and activate. I call them prosperity plans rather than business plans, but that's
Sure. Sure.
typically what I like to say is they're just regenerative solutions and just creating more accessibility to all of these solutions. So it's not so much of a hurdle to get started. Like I mentioned in the group earlier, like we have a Be the Bee collective. So if somebody wanted to save the bees, then all they would have to do is just download this plan, takes a little training on how it works, and then get their supplies, and they have their mentors right there, and they're plugged into the community rather than network of where they can share their excess, you know, because that's one of the principles is really taking care of our own needs first, and then the excess going to the shared collectives. So
Yeah.
one of the dreams. But yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and your vision, the shared vision that we have, and looking forward to working together more
Yeah,
and
nice. It's
doing,
definitely a great start, and it's been really lovely chatting to you. Is there anything else you'd like to add? I think we've pretty much gone through everything.
didn't we? Well, it's just kind of like the tip of the iceberg right now.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
going to shut down the live. So there we
Okay.
go. Thank you, everyone.